Never expected to feel this way. Can't help but think it's a game you play. I've learned to be honest, I never saw you coming. Like a thief in the night, you pulled up without a warning. Never expected to feel this way. Can't help but think it's a game you play. I've learned to not get so easily swayed. Don't give up faith, I know I'm not brave anymore. Give me no understand what kind of hold you have on me. No, I never do these things, but I'm all for risk, and I admit I love a little danger. A familiar stranger, I could get used to our arrangement. Now you feel what I'm saying? If we're on the same page, then we can keep it low-key. Promise not to tell nobody. You'll be the only. Just promise not to leave me lonely. First place the trophy, so it's better you don't know me. So can we keep it low-key? Yeah, can we keep it low-key? How long, how long, how long till one of us wants something more? I say we ride the wave and stay far away from the shore. Don't wanna be grounded, afraid of losing what we have. I'd rather be surrounded, drowning in your loving. Me, I don't understand what kind of hold you have on me. No, I never do these things, but I'm all for risk. And I admit I love a little danger. A familiar stranger, I could get used to our arrangement. Do you feel what I'm saying? If we're on the same page, then we can keep it low-key. Promise not to tell nobody.
Agwan, good afternoon, Grand Rising. Doing amazing today. Happy Wednesday.
So can we keep it low-key? Can we keep it low-key? Promise not to tell nobody. You'll be the only. Just promise not to leave me lonely. First place you can so it's better you don't know me. So can we keep it low-key? Can we keep it low-key?
Yes, good afternoon. That is Zania Manasseh playing right here on the media of the 21st Century Blackout Fire Network. The name of the jam is Loki, and I hope you guys are doing amazing. 26 minutes past the top of the hour. Happy Wednesday. Wishing you a beautiful day for those who are just starting their day right now. And of course, it is already towards evening right here. It's literally actually a very beautiful day. It's sunny. And yeah, a beautiful weather. I love me some sunny days. And I'm dressed literally like the sun itself. Come on, please stop playing. But karibuni sana. Hope you guys literally are doing great, of course. And today we're going to be talking about some interesting conversation, of course, majorly about Kenya. What has been happening yesterday? The conversation was still mostly focused on Kenya because of the tension which the government thought that people are going to be turning out for the demonstration, and to turn up actually people were just up for peace. People wanted to just continue with their errands, go to work on a normal day because they said it's supposed to be a normal day, but that's not what ended up being. So I'm glad at the end of the day there's no report of shootings, tear gas, or anything, any chaos. At the end of the day, there's not been any such reports. But karibuni, today we're going to be talking about how now we can see the offer that was offered a few months ago, that is by Dangote, finally actually now coming to being. And of course, we have to look deeper into this because many questions, if you have some senses or some critical thinking, you should ask yourself why this is happening right now, which was my first question. Of course, it's a good move. It's something super amazing, and especially what we can see since the beginning of the war between America, Israel, and Iran, the effect this has actually had on African countries, which is a continent full of oil and only just with few oil refinery literally companies. I'd say Nigeria is actually the major leading country, which has oil refining companies. But focusing on Kenya, I'm gonna take you back into a little bit of history because back then we did have actually a refining oil company that was shut down in 2013. This was actually built in the 1960s. And of course, we're going to be looking at this because I've been talking about this issue of oil specifically in Kenya, and which which we see so many people have lost land, lives in a northern part of Kenya, to be specific, because there's a lot of oil. Literally, there is a lot of oil in Turkana, to be specific. So I've been sharing this documentary, of course, for so many times, especially the time we're talking about oil every single day. I did share a whole documentary on why actually Ruto was taking advantage of increasing the fuel prices. We saw how it's benefiting, of course, him and the other people. And we saw actually there's a company, after the closure of this oil refining company, which was shut down in 2013, we had a private company that came and bought that particular space. So we're going to be looking at that, and that is the Gulf. So we're going to be discussing about that and see literally why is it that Dangote is offering this right now. But still, as we talk about more conversation, we're going to be looking at also the demonstration in Tanzania. There's a bit of tension since last week. We've been having the police being deployed out, and that is because of the demonstration. Of course, the people, again, I do believe they're not okay. They're feeling oppressed. They're not being delivered what Magufuli used to deliver. We're going to be talking a bit about also Ghana, rejecting Ramaphosa to visit Ghana. So we're going to be focusing on that and see how many people are going to be going with this, move. And for how long are we going to push it to? Because for me, I don't think I'm really up to it. As much as I was saying, it's going to be effective, we can't continue also working that way. We do need each other. And it's going to have to come to a point where South Africa has to accept what they did was wrong. And the president has to also act like he's really behind all this. But yes, we're going to be looking at more of those conversations. But for now, kindly grab the application on the app. In case you're here for the first time, do subscribe, and welcome to the Black Hot Fire Network. This is the media of the 21st century. My name is Joby. This is the Pan-African Beliefs. We do this every Monday to Friday. We have more other amazing conversations. Today, Shmani couldn't make it in. So in case you guys didn't see in the morning, for the TikTok fans and for those who listen on the radio, or rather on the network, she's not feeling well, and we wish her quick recovery. But grab yourself also some healthy supplements, because for her, she's been having some stomach issues, and some healthy supplements do help. She's tried that, though. I do give her the credit. She did try some healthy organic supplements last week, but it seems that has not really done the magic it's supposed to be doing. But we have more of our organic supplements literally under our application. So in case you're just tuning in, you can visit our page and check our amazing pages where we have news and updates. We have the live streams. We have an apparel store where you can get yourself and grab some amazing merchandise with our logo, t-shirt, beanies, hoodies in different colors and sizes. So if you are a small size, we got you. If you're a large size, we got you too. But for now, Brain and Focus
Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
And literally, bet sure you'll gain some critical thinking. So in case you're not born with any, like Kid says, you'll end up having critical thinking. It will boost your memories. It will boost everything that you want. And we also have more other boosting supplements, even your libido. So in case you're not performing well, we got some amazing supplements over there. Bakaribuni sana once again, JOBY in the house. Shout out to everyone with us on the radio station, on Spreaker, Spotify, those who catch this conversation also on BitChute and YouTube. Hope you guys are doing great. It's 33 minutes past the top of the hour. And yes, I hope your morning has started on a high note. But as we start with today's conversation, we're going to start with this interesting conversation that I love how Kenyans actually were so active on understanding that this is something that we need to actually introduce. We've seen countries like Madagascar. Was it Madagascar? Yeah. Was it Madagascar? Yeah. We had demonstration, I think last year in Madagascar. Remember? Where it was actually not a demonstration, it was revolution. The president was, of course, ran away. The youths were demanding, of course, accountability, economic stability, jobs, and all that. And we saw the new government. There was a coup that happened, of course, which was also in support of the youth who turned out in majority to kick out the government that was there, or the people who were there, the politicians who were there. And we saw the new system that came in. They did a couple of things that, of course, when it comes to the Western nations, this is a trigger. This is you're not supposed to be doing that. One of the things they introduced an electric. It was an electric lie, is it called lie detector? Yeah, electric lie detector that would tell if the politicians are stealing money and when they're lying, literally. And we saw also recently in Niger, the same thing also happened. They're saying that this is going to be leading to death penalty, and many countries should be introducing this. Yesterday, we were talking about the IMF, the World Bank, and also looking at why the politicians are threatened every time the youths turn out on the streets, because behind these deals that are being made comes also with their fancy lives, which is actually public funds where people are, supposed to be benefiting off these debts. And if not even the debts, because you're not supposed to be borrowing literally, but you're supposed to be, if you're borrowing money for development or projects, you're supposed to ensure you do them. So if they generate money, you can pay back your debts and we continue with our lives, literally. But it's always the opposite. These people pocket chunks of billions of what they are borrowing, and we end up being the majority who are suffering. Now, I love the same with China, and Kenyans have been talking about it, and it's a discussion I wanted to start with, because this should be, of course, in every African country or globally. Most of the people in the comment section were saying that this should be actually a global system of these politicians. If you're not delivering what you're supposed to be delivering, and you have a certain time, and and the fact that you've been given funds, why shouldn't you be held accountable? So we have China, which yesterday there was some information about sentencing a 69-year-old former city official to death for taking more than $325 million. Imagine all that amount of money, 42 billion Kenyan shillings, that is in our Kenyan money, and in bribes, that is over the last 30 years. And that is what we keep on talking about. When we have this nepotism, tribalism type of system operating in a country, this is what happens. And that's why personally I'm so scared literally of involving relatives in my stuff. Like for real. I'm so scared. I'm not even scared. I'm not gonna do it. I've always stood to the ground. Like I will not connect none of my family members to anything that I'm doing, because it's the same people. Someone made this quote and I was like, man, it's really true. It's the same people that you'll always, and especially family, you'll put them on, and they'll be the reason of you failing in some sort of way. I don't know. They'll be the reason of you just losing what you've been working so hard for or building. So personally, I don't believe in bringing family, or I don't know, we should be workmates, or I'm gonna give no. And that is the problem we have when it comes to this system, because it's actually also a system that runs within also us as a people, us as a citizens, leave alone even the politicians. I've seen that. I used to see that with my dad. He'd employ maybe my cousins or maybe some people he has a connection, maybe family, friends, and these people will come there and they don't do what they're supposed to be doing, or they start stealing. It's really crazy. So I love this about China, literally, and I do hope this can actually become a system that we can one time or one day see actually it operating. Most of the people in the comments are saying that they should reach out to everyone who's in Ruto's government and administration. And exactly, that is so true. And then someone also says, I wish this was here in Kenya. Someone says, I love how China doesn't play with corruption. And another person also says, Oh my God! It should be a copy and pasted. Um, it should be a copy and pasted information that should apply in majority of the countries. Exactly, because there's a lot of theft with this government and because there's never accountability. But moving on, we also have some more updates coming from Ethiopia. And this is about what we've been seeing, of course, most of the countries being pushed into. Recently, I think we have Ruto. Let me see if I can find the video. Ruto also did say the same thing about the same information I'm about to read here. So we have Ethiopia, which the National Digital ID Program, that is called the FIDA, I don't know, FIDA or FIDA, which I should pronounce, has registered more than 46 million people in just 3 years. So this has been operating already in Ethiopia and very much active, and which takes me back actually personally to the that eyeball thing they had brought in Kenya, that cryptocurrency thing where you had to put your eyeball and then you take 7,000 Kenyan shillings, and then so many people, so many Kenyans went for it. So I'm like, what if this is already actively actually happening? Because let me read this, and then we go back to Ruto, because Ruto said this just recently. I don't know why I forgot to share that. Ruto actually reminded us the digital ID that Kenya has been struggling so hard to ensure that it starts operating in this country has been taking so long, but it's now in the finalization. Let me look for the video, then read that article. Damn, that would be really, really scary. That would be really scary. And that shows you how these people are always ahead of us. That would be really crazy. Of course, we knew when they were doing that, that's what happened. And takes me back, maybe, what about the Uduma number? What if the Uduma number whole scandal, the data was never really lost? They kept it because they instilled fear and so many people ran for it. And then maybe they wanted to collect now a new generation, because majority of us were in school or out of school, so we had not gotten IDs. We don't have jobs, you don't have a bank account, so you're not worried about all that stuff. So now that we're a little bit older, they brought the same thing. This is just 3 years ago, I think 2023. Yeah. Now that people have jobs, people are moms, people have IDs, others have passports, they came with the same bullshit, but now with the eyeball, because they know many people are desperate for money. Man, this is really crazy. But let me pull this video. Let me see. Ruto talks about the. Let's see. This was just, I don't know, I forgot to share this. I think I listened to so many videos of these people. Was this 2 years ago? No, there's a recent one. Oh, I must have listened to it somewhere, but yeah, let me share. This is him. This is Ruto. Let's see.
Already, the digital ID, which has been a big problem. Already, the digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise.
Who complained? Who complained? The question should be, who has complained? I'm not tired of carrying my ID, my bank card, I'm not. Who complained? The question should always be, who has complained? Why do they always have to offer us things we've not even asked for? This is always crazy. Who has complained? I like when my bag is heavy. Trust me, I like when my bag is full of so many stuff. My phone, some ball gums, my keys, my notebook, my pen, my makeup, of course, to fix, my perfume, some pieces of tissue papers there, some wet wipes. I like when my bag is full of stuff. Like I'm gonna struggle. I love that struggle of just looking for things because I know it's just there. I don't know, just being a girl. So who has complained? I don't think the men have complained carrying their wallets. I don't think they have. I think it's always, I don't know, some men feel so good when they go to the, they go to the shop or supermarket and you just open your wallet and you give your ATM card, or, you just remove some thousands of dollars there or whatever you're paying. Who has complained? Who has complained? That should be always the question. These people are always just, again, this is the white people. This is nothing to do with us. There's no Kenyan I've had in this country saying, hey, I'm tired of carrying an ID. And no, personally, I like that shit. I love collecting cards. I'll go to places, I'll take someone's business card, I'll take another someone's business card. I love that. I don't know. It's just, I love having so many stuff in my bag. Maybe because I'm just a girl, but who has complained? Nobody.
As an ID that they should be able to be identified digitally using their iris or their fingerprints, and we can transact.
Their iris, their iris. So we're confirmed. Remember, now let me pull that article very quickly. Kenya, Kenya, how do I quote it? Let me find out how I can quote it. Kenya confirms data deleted of the Kenyans. Let's see if I have it right. Let's see if I have it right. Okay, let's see if I have it correctly, because this happened in Kenya and Nigeria. Yeah, this happened in Kenya and Nigeria, and I don't know if Ghana. Yeah, but this is just super crazy. So you mentioned the iris. So let me take you just a little bit back. This happened in 2023, where we had a group of, what was it called? It had a name. WorldCoin, exactly. Let's see. WorldCoin. Let's see. I want to take you guys step by step for those who don't remember. I think it was in 2023. Yeah, that was in 2023, exactly. I'm glad I didn't forget that. So this is in 2023, where, let me just read this briefly. So this is a question of what happened to the WorldCoin, the crypto ID. Is it suspended in Kenya? And then it reads, WorldCoin is an open digital identification protocol that aims. Oh no! Don't do that to me. Allow me read it. Okay. Excuse me. That aims to democratize, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, democratize, right? Participation in the global economy. And it is heart in a novel concept, World ID, a privacy-first, decentralized identity protocol that uses zero-knowledge proofs for digital IDs without revealing personal data. It was launched in Kenya and other several countries. It was in Nigeria too. And then come 2025, of course, because some people rose awareness about it, those who are aware of what was happening, and the government now act very concerned, right? So come 2025, that is 2 years after, we have the High Court, which ruled, and trust, I've always been saying, I don't trust the High Court of Kenya. I don't. There's some things, yes, they might do, but are you sure they are doing it? It's always a question that stays, I'll always have those question marks. I'll always have those question marks. The High Court has never been able to prevent majority of the things that should or are going to affect Kenyans. When it comes to the GMO, when it comes to the VSCCINEs, when it comes to so many things, this court does zero work because it's already bought. The people who are operating in this court are literally same as Ruto, no difference. So come 2025, the High Court ruling on Monday, that was in May 2025, ordered the WorldCoin Foundation to delete the iris and the facial data collected from Kenyans within 7 days under the supervision of the Data Protection Commissioner. Now, come 2026, did this really happen? Let's see. Just give me a second. Give me a second. And this is how I tell you, the system is really serious. Come 2026, the same question or the same conversation is still being held. Of did these people or the WorldCoin delete the biometrics? Of course they didn't, because again, come 2026, the same article, it reads, the WorldCoin has been ordered to delete biometrics that are collected from Kenyans. The information I just read to you, this was May 2025. Come 2026, we're still having the same conversation. And come 2027, and come 2028, and come 2029, because you willingly did it. Nobody asked you to. And that is always going to be their defense mechanism. And that's why we go back to Ruto now, talking about digital ID. And looking at Ethiopia, it launched this 3 years ago. So this tells me, actually this WorldCoin or the iris, I don't know, but they've been collecting this. They've been doing this for the longest time, because 3 years, that is the same time we had the WorldCoin in Kenya, Nigeria, and I think Ghana. So if probably in Ethiopia, I'm not really sure. I'm going to check that just in a few to confirm. But yeah, they got us. They have us. There is no escape to it. They have us. It has happened. I didn't do it personally, but I don't know, man. I didn't do it. I didn't go for the iris. I didn't go for the 7,000 Kenyan shillings. I was not that desperate. What else? I never ran for the Huduma number. This is crazy. Do I have amnesia? I should take some brain and focus. Oh, no sound. Sorry. I should take some brain and focus formula just in case I forgot who I am. So, do you even hear what Ruto is trying to say? Let me repeat it. See, there's no sound. I'm sorry. Let me do it again. So you're trying to tell us we should move to digital ID so we can have all our information in one whatever, just in case someone forgets who they are. Unless I have amnesia, who forgets who they are? Even a drunk person, they still get to their house. They don't forget their house. I'm sorry. In case you forget who you are, we have some brain and focus. Please take that. What?
Already, the digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise, as an ID, that they should be able to be identified digitally using their iris or their fingerprints, and we can transact without the necessity of people struggling to identify who they are. And the most...
And we have some idiots clapping. We really have grown-ass men and women there clapping. You have someone telling you, in case you forget who you are. Are you crazy? Okay.
The proudest part of it is that we don't have to spend the billions that we have spent on all the other manenos, as all of you know.
Okay. Which manenos? What manenos? Which manenos? What are manenos? Which manenos? Man, Ruto, your lies have become too much. Okay, let's continue.
The end of an era. It is the end. The arrival of digital identification marks the end of an era. It is the end of freedom, and it's the beginning of digital feudalism.
Yeah.
Trump is not who we need to be worried about. The real
Ethiopia already suffers a lot, literally, from the point it is at. So, now, man, I can't imagine Kenya being in that space.
kings are the tech giants who rule over the digital world. A digital ID is not just an online copy of your driver's license. It is your entire identity contained and monitored in an online file. They will know everything about you. And when I say everything, I mean everything. This is the coming of a complete and total surveillance state. Everything you do will require your digital ID and will be tracked in your file. And you do not have control over this file. Your work history will be connected to your digital ID. Your financial transactions will be connected to your digital ID.
No, we cannot accept this.
Your browsing history, your text messages, your social media posts, your passport, your medical records, what you do in your spare time, your very behavior as a human being will be tracked to your digital ID. Your digital ID will be the key that unlocks access to your entire life. But if you misbehave, protest too loudly, Google search the wrong thing, your file will get flagged. Your key gets revoked and you get exiled from the system. It's the same thing they do to foreign countries that don't play by the rules. Cuba, Russia, Iran, North Korea. Just like them, you will be sanctioned. You will be cut off from the system. This is the future. For decades, we have been handing over our freedom in exchange for comfort and security. And the only way to get our freedom back is to do the one thing that Americans are not yet prepared to do. We have to give up that very comfort and security. Because a hard truth that many Americans are unwilling to hear is that you cannot build a new life until you are willing to walk away from the old one.
That is so true, literally. That is so true. You know, it's true to telling us how our country is going to become a first world country. And you've not dealt with even Kibera. You're building affordable houses just beside Kibera. How is that making a country? What are we talking about? This is so crazy. But you can see now this is a push happening in many African countries. We have Kenya, our president talking about it. And you can see, of course, the data was not cleared and expected not to be deleted. We're going to keep on whining and talking about it as if this is a new thing when it comes to justice. Ethiopia, the same thing. By the time these people are going to wake up, it's going to be too late to understand what is happening. You think maybe you're ahead of the rest of the world or by having digital IDs, because there's so many people are very miseducated. You know, they think that this is actually, you are way ahead more than other countries by being trapped. It's super crazy. But we also have more information coming from Ghana. where yesterday we had John Mahama. I don't know why I call him Malema. I don't know. I always call him John Malema. It's John. I think they have a similarity. That's why in the pronunciation. But yes, we had the Ghanaian president who rejected Ramaphosa's state visit request over the xenophobic attacks, and they're saying that this is deeply distressing for any African who cares about our continent. Leaders should not be populist. Leaders should lead through ideas, principle, wisdom, and foresight. Exactly, because also me looking at this, I looked at it in a very now deeper way. Because yes, boycott tourism, boycott all that. Yeah, it's good. It's a good punishment. But for how long? That's the question. For how long are we willing to do that? Because it's not like South Africa maybe doesn't have anything to offer to the rest of the African countries, to be specific, that they are collaborating with. They do. They do. So the question should be now, for how long? You know? And maybe the only rule we should maintain is we should be thorough with them maybe when they come to our country. That's the only thing. We should be strict with them the way they have been in their country, in our countries. But I feel like when it comes to this issue of now government to government, this is now really crazy. This is really, really crazy. But yes, this article says he calls upon our African leaders to resist the temptation of responding to difficult problems with emotions and instead reflect on the role they are meant to play for the people, the ordinary citizens of the beautiful continent. And he hopes that they will find it within themselves to engage with one another rather than respond to challenges in ways that only make them worse. It is profoundly sad to see two African presidents reach a point where they can no longer engage with each other. Problems are resolved through dialogue, diplomacy, and communications, not through isolations and a refusal to engage. But I'd say, yes, I do understand where maybe Mahama is coming from and are trying to protect, of course, the people's, his people, and which we saw, of course, Julius Malema talking crazy after Ghana tried to evacuate their people as if he wanted them to die there. Ramaphosa has not been a man enough to actually admit that his country or the people are on the wrong. That is just a fact. So I do understand maybe some other African leaders from which point they are coming from. But again, yes, this is not a time for you as, hey, this is not like some small company. You're running a country, This is not some small company. You're running a whole country. You have millions of people who are waiting for your decisions, or whatever decisions you make. They're going to be large, effective to them. So no time for emotions here. It's either you be grown-ass men and understand that you can solve this moving forward. Ramaphosa be grown enough to apologize to the rest of the African countries and admit your people have been wrong. But no, that's not what is happening. It's like, again, who's the bigger dog? For what? For what? Because again, I love the way he started. It's like, if you think about this deeply, if you care about Africa, and if you try to look at things maybe from a further point of view, not right now, you'd understand that this is not time to respond actually with emotions. But he also adds that there is a fundamental difference between leaders, particularly presidents, and ordinary citizens who may be swept along by populist demanguery, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That difference should be evident in the way our leaders resolve problems. Exactly what I said. And on behalf of the people they serve, leadership is not about rising above emotion, resisting populist pressure, and making decisions that secure peace, stability, and long-term prosperity. True leadership does not merely dwell on what has happened. It seeks to understand the root cause of the problem and resolve them in a way that prevents further deterioration. And that is the standard we should expect from these entrusted leaders that are leading our nation. And it is just important for Africans, especially those of us in journalism, scholarship, academy, and other fields, for serious of serious thought to resist inflaming already difficult situations. Our responsibility is to encourage dialogue, promote reason, and create an environment in which our leaders pursue lasting solutions rather than deepen divisions. Africa has too much at stake for us to allow emotions, populism, and political point scoring to replace wisdom, diplomacy, and constructive engagement. Our leaders should build bridges, not walls, because even the most difficult disagreement can only be resolved through a dialogue. So, literally, I do believe this is a time where these people need to talk. And then someone on the comment section says the problem is that the Ramaphosa is not coming out clean. Exactly what I said. Is not strongly denouncing xenophobia. So I do understand from which point actually African leaders with critical thinking. I do believe John Mahama. Hey, John Mahama has some critical thinking in him. I don't know. He might not be doing so right by the people right now, by the country. Of course, look at people are dying of floods right now. I'm not trying to prevent that. Ghanaians are being swept by floods. Heavy floods. I've not seen him address that. You know, they say they're going to tackle it, but yeah. But I do think he's kind of. I'm going to leave it at that. So, Ramaphosa, you just need to come clean. You need to come clean. Then someone also says true, and the lasting stability is always built on foundation to open dialogue. Exactly. Someone also adds that what has the South African government done to stop vigilantes and ensure a lawful resolution to the immigration crisis that is going on? If nothing, then there is nothing to engage. Ramaphosa and Ghana is right. I do agree. Literally, it's just literally the problem is just the president of the country at this point, because the people are looking at you and how you're delivering what, how are you approaching the situation that is happening in your country. You are supposed to be the one defending the fellow Africans in that country. But no, the only time you deploy police officers actually is when some Asian businesses are being attacked. You're not actually, you're saying that this is not xenophobia. So no, people are not stupid. That's just the fact. People ain't stupid. Stupidity, I think, was left somewhere else, literally. But people are not stupid. Moving on, we also have more news coming from Dar es Salaam, where, of course, since last week, like I said, that was on Friday, we've been having tensions because of the protests that have been planned by the young people. And they're saying that the heavy police deployment in the capitals of Kenya and Tanzania, that was yesterday. Also, yesterday, we had police officers in Tanzania out as suppressed planned and anti-government protests. And they're saying that in Kenya, a day commemorates of the 19 struggles. That is, of course, what we were looking at yesterday when it comes to the Sabasaba. And Tanzania protests were meant to call for democratic reforms following the disruption of October election. So people are still not satisfied, of course, with what the results that literally came out during the elections. And of course, the injustice. So many lives were left literally lost, and there's no justice. There's nobody to be held accountable. Samia Suluhu came boldly saying she's just sorry, and that's it, and nothing else. Man, it's crazy. Moving forward, we also have some few information. Not really a fan of the World Cup, like I've been saying, but this caught the attention because there's been two, I think, tension games for the last 2 days. That was yesterday. And the other day on Monday, we had, I think, is it called Ronaldo? Yeah, who their team lost, and then yesterday we had Messi playing and all that. But yeah, not really that the focus. We had Mbappe, of course. Some of you know Mbappe. Jamos, I do believe you know Mbappe. Karibu Sarah. We had this lady who said that, and I don't know what really happened, because these conversations always find me when it comes to racism. These conversations of football and racism, they always find me unaware. The only one I know is of, if you saw, we had Aisha Speed, we had those white people who are calling him a monkey, and he was like, man, this is just crazy, you know. I love the fact that he's, you know, strong enough to not take it in, and that is just so beautiful, because we're like, man, we know we know the story. And I believe the fact that he came to Africa, whether some people want to say he was paid or not, he learned so much for him to believe some bullshit that people, you know, have been putting out there about us as African people, you know. But yes, we had Mbappe, who this lady referred to him as a colonized Cameroonian. So let me see the whole story where it actually came from. So this article says that in an open letter, Kylian Mbappe, disgraced uh, senator, I can't pronounce her name, claims that the reason she is angry at him was because before the game, he made comments about having to put his hands in shit, huh? And that by shit he meant he'll have to face her. I think face her. I think that's what he meant. I don't know what he really. Yeah, but racism, and I love the fact that just to make the long story short, she was arrested, of course, because of our racist comments, because that is super super racist. It's always crazy how they look at us. Her racist comments made her lose her job. Now she's gonna be facing, I think, a year in prison, according to what I saw. Yes, she's supposed to be facing a year in prison. Let me see. Yeah, I think she's gonna be facing a year in prison from another article I saw earlier today. But yeah, we have the now main conversation, which is about Dangote Refinery project that is supposed to be built in Kenya. And the question is, will Kenya be able to maintain this? Will Kenya, our corrupt government, are we going to benefit from this? That is my main question. So I want to take you a little bit back to history, but before we do that, let's look at what is really happening here.
The company of Aliko Dangote confirmed on Tuesday that a new East African oil refinery backed by the Nigerian billionaire will be built in Kenya. The announcement puts a lid on months-long speculation over the location of the mega project. The massive refinery will be based in Lamu, an island off the coast of Kenya. With a capacity of 700,000 barrels per day, it is expected to be similar to Dangote's sprawling complex in Nigeria. It will take around 30 months to build the facility in East Africa's largest economy. Initially, Tanzania was also one of the locations considered for the refinery. Aliko Dangote was in Tanzania late last month, where he held talks with President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Africa's richest man reportedly explained the commercial and technical considerations behind the choice of Kenya as the refinery's location. He also invited Tanzania to participate in the Lamu investment. The refinery is viewed as a potential game changer for a region that remains heavily dependent on imported refined fuel, despite having significant crude oil reserves.
Yes, so this information literally was reported yesterday, where finally the decision, because remember this, there was a meeting, I think 2 months ago. We had Dangote in Kenya, and he was talking to the African leaders. He addressed corruption, addressed so many things, why Africa needs to collaborate or work together. It was an amazing speech, literally. And he said he'll need some time to decide between Kenya and Tanzania which country is going to settle with. So basically, or finally, he has settled with Kenya. So let's look at Kenya a little bit, because we also have a few history, because it's not like Kenya is getting a project of our oil refinery company for the first time. We should say maybe this is the second time or the third time or the fourth, I don't know. But let me say this is the second time based on the few history information that I have. So let me share this video very quickly, and then I'll share a few details about that. When we had a bunch of people who lost their jobs, that is over 100,000 people lost their jobs after this refinery company was closed. That was in 2013. Understand it was built in the 60s, literally. It's called the Changamwe facility. The Changamwe oil refinery
to refine its own crude oil. In 2020, Kenya used to refine its own crude oil. In 2026, we are out here competing with Tanzania, begging a Nigerian billionaire to choose us. What happened to that one we already had in Changamwe? Take some proof, and this one is going to give you some headache. Kenya took full control of the Changamwe refinery in 1983 from BP and Shell, who had built it in the 1960s.
Now, pause on that. Of course, we know the history of Shell very well. I know we don't need to go to all that. We know who controls Shell. We know the history of Shell, especially very well in Nigeria. Does that ring a bell? Where we had so much damage that was done, witnesses disappearing, so many families and rivers were destroyed, which is still very much effective till to date. And on repeat, and on repeat, and on repeat. But let's continue.
To supply petroleum to the entirety of East Africa. At its peak, the Changamwe refinery processed 80,000 barrels a single day. Things got even better in 2022. Talo oil struck crude in Turkana. Kenya is officially an oil nation.
From Turkana, exactly. So the fact that our country had already a refinery oil company that was built in the 60s, and of course by Shell and all that, but yeah, and then we have oil in our country. Why? I'm still questioning, why isn't it that, did we really benefit from it? And the benefits we made, where was the development of money put in? I'm just trying to understand, because where? And that's why I'm coming back to now what is about to happen with my question and my topic. Will Kenya be able to manage the oil refinery company being offered by Dangote? Because if we had one, and we already had oil in our country, yet we couldn't even maintain what we had. So are we going to maintain? But let's continue. Maybe. Because the scandal of Turkana again. The oil or the company, after it was sold, the name was changed. And then we had some Gulf company. Oh, okay.
Turkana to Changamwe, then to your fuel pump, right? Wrong. There is no happy ending in this country because on September 2013, we officially closed our refinery, East Africa's only crude oil processing plant. Now here is what that decision actually costs you at the pump. When you import refined fuel, you pay a premium on top for the refining, for the specialized tankers, and for the logistics. And when global prices move, Kenya feels it harder than everyone else because we have zero control of any part of that chain. So,
majority of the African countries.
What happened to the Changamwe site? It is still standing in Mombasa. Guess what it is now? A storage depot. We turned a processing plant into a warehouse. This is the factory closure trend. Nobody is connecting. We keep walking away from infrastructure that will give us leverage. Then we wonder why the cost of living is going up every day.
They came back to.
Now, fast forward just a little bit. Now, going back to the same story, of course. And then we're going to look at still how the oil was captured too. Let's look at this. Now, the company had so many people employed. But after its closure, so many people lost their jobs.
Over the last 12 months, the Kenya Petroleum Refineries Limited has come under serious scrutiny following disruption in its operations, which has led to frequent fuel shortages. The refinery, which has been termed as in...
So the question is fuel shortages, yet we have fuel in Turkana. Okay.
Inefficient and unreliable, has been blamed for the high cost of fuel in the country. Fuel marketers claim that the obsolete plant has pushed up fuel pump prices by 3 shillings a litre. These allegations have resulted in calls for the closure of the refinery. The employees of the plant have, however, protested the move and have taken their plight to the highest office in the land, head of state. In a petition to the president through the head of public service, the employees have urged the president to intervene and prevent the closure of the plant, as it will affect more than 1,200 employees directly. The closure of the refinery would deal a great blow to the economy of Mombasa County, as it indirectly employs over 100,000 Kenyans. The greatest indicator that the refinery, which is owned jointly by the government and ISA, may be operating on borrowed time, came early this month when ISA announced its intention to pull out of the joint venture. The Kenya Petroleum Refinery Limited is East Africa's only oil refinery and refines about 4,500 tons of crude per day. Dennis Otieno.
Yeah. So now you have a little bit background of the story. Now, again, let me share this and then we'll look at another one.
KJ, I was with him in some foreign trip. I told him that one is a bad idea. That one is a bad idea. I would advise you don't go that route, because the day it will bite you nicely.
And it's already doing that?
It is doing that. There's another issue here that many people are not seeing. The long con that's working. KPC gets listed, right?
Now, KPC, that is the Changamwe Oil Refinery, which they changed the name literally to Kenya Petroleum Refinery. Yeah. No. They changed it to Kenya Pipeline. Sorry, Kenya Pipeline Company. Sorry, Kenya Pipeline Company. That is KPC.
Company called Gulf Energy is given contracts for the, is it, what do you call that thing in Turkana?
Tallow. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So we have oil in Turkana. So, oh my God, this is just so crazy. I don't know. We must be having some, I don't know who we're dealing with. I don't know what these leaders are, man. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, we have a lot of oil in Turkana. These politicians themselves do fight. Who is going to be in control? We have a lot of oil. I think there's another one also that has been discovered, but that guy is yet to say the place because he's scared of the government. When we had the fuel prices going crazy, there's someone who actually, it was on TikTok. It's like, man, you guys are crying about fuel and I have massive fuel here. It's just that I'm scared if the government discovered this, I'm going to be kicked out of my land. I'll be kicked out of my land. But yes. So we have the Gulf, which is in control. We remember I did share a story about all that history, how they took over. Okay.
Right? And then you guys are not seeing what's happening. Some refinery is proposed in Tanga without the host president even being aware of it. Yeah. That was a decoy. So that the following day, Dangote comes and says, no, I was not interested in Tanga. I was interested in Mombasa. KPRL is your target. Revamp it. Gulf Energy again gets the contract because your crude oil cannot be transported below 40 degrees. That makes it quite expensive, right? So let's refine our crude in Mombasa, right? Who has taken over? Gulf. Gulf starts producing, but you have to blend your crude with sweet Brent.
Yes.
From elsewhere to make it, otherwise you'll have too much of wax content, which is bitumen.
Yeah.
Therefore, the economies of scale will not work on favor. Once they start doing that, Gulf gets a percentage of imports for crude, and figures will start being channeled out of the amount they're producing per day. And then the refinery, as usual, will go down. And Gulf will have to be, during maintenance, will be told to import now white product, which is finished product, equivalent of what they've been churning out, to a KPC that they technically own.
Right. So it's just business remains in the family, essentially.
The whole thing now, at some point, the refinery again will die as we do things in Africa. But now Gulf will be the one importing for their quota of what they were producing at the refinery. It was a one long con.
But these things come out, I think, at the times that they do, then...
By then, it's too late.
It's too late.
You've signed a 50-year
deal.
For you to reverse it, you know how contracts are done in Kenya. I give you a contract knowing I will not honor it, and then I'm forced to pay you.
Time doesn't allow us to go into the
I read the news so that you don't have to.
And by the way, we are discussing a refinery in Tanzania.
The two of you.
Yes, we are not discussing a refinery in Kenya or Uganda. We are discussing that we're going to have a joint refinery in Tanga to benefit all of us, because that refinery is going to take on board the oil from DRC, the oil from Kenya, the oil from South Sudan, the oil from Uganda, and we will just need to build a short pipeline from Tanga to Mombasa, and the finished product will use the pipeline that we already jointly own with Uganda. So all our assets become profitable. But you need a longer term view, to see it than just a short term,
Yeah, so longer term view is where you've signed deals that will not... Hey, there's always an agenda. That's what I've been suspecting this whole thing from the beginning. Nah, it's not giving. It's cool, but something ain't something in, Something ain't something in. And the dots are being connected slowly. So this refinery oil company was supposed to be set in Tanga, that is in Tanzania. And you can see how many countries, he's mentioned very well, how many countries actually would benefit off this. Not just Kenya, not just Tanzania, but majorly East Africa. East Africa. But on this other end, there's some deals that, it's crazy. There's some deals that were already done by the previous regimes, which are very much effective. It's crazy. This is super messy.
Country by country, and that is why President Museveni was saying fragmentation is also part of our enemy. That is why some people broke up the East African community, because they didn't see the benefit of the bigger market. They were just looking at individual countries.
As if he sees. He's talking as if he sees.
So
the benefit of unity.
That is the where we are at the moment. And it is different because we've all learned our lessons. The policymakers, like myself and President Museveni, we can see with clarity where this should go. Industrialists like Dangote here, they too can see. And AFC right here with us, and all these other good bank people, they also appreciate that.
Good bank people. So it also takes me back to, is it really Dangote fully funding this, or is he also being backed up by some white people? Who is really fully funding this? That's another question. Every statement has, I'm so smart, please, I'm so smart. Every statement, there's something to just speak on what these people say. Who is really funding this? Exactly, the good bank people. Who are the good bank people? Oh my God. Who is funding this Dangote oil refinery project that is happening in Kenya? Because also looking at the wealth, again, if I have to take you back to Dangote's history, he's not just the richest Black African, whatever in Africa. No, it's not coincidence. Go back to the history of his family, who the father is, or even great-grandfather, I guess. Look at the history, what the family used to do, and how he ended up being a rich African man, So, no. And of course, this would not happen without a fight from the white people. So the good bank people have agreed to this. Okay?
It is their responsibility to invest in this infrastructure.
It is their responsibility. It's like, have you heard? It's their responsibility. What? What? Okay.
Because it makes them money and it grows their bank balance sheets as well.
Oh, okay. So this is not about the countries benefiting. This is about us making other people rich. Still. This is, oh my God. What? I'm going to repeat that statement again. Let's listen.
See, right here with us and all these other good bank people, they also appreciate that it is their responsibility to invest in this infrastructure.
They also appreciate that it is their responsibility to fund this project because it is going back to benefit and balance their balance sheet. Oh my God. And we have people say, I'm not celebrating. I'm saying it's good. Yeah. But I think I've become too smart to look at so many things from so many angles. You won't tell me something and I won't overthink. Man, I'm an overthinker. For real. I've accepted that. I personally know that. I'm an overthinker. I am. I overthink stuff. I'll overthink. I'll put questions and answers in between those, whatever I'm overthinking. I'll ask and answer myself. And I'll still find answers. Because I'll have to make a good decision in whatever I'm thinking about. So God damn, this is so crazy.
Because it makes them money.
We didn't even pick these statements when he was making this speech.
And it grows their bank balance sheets as well.
Thank you, President Ruto.
Wow.
Kenya just pulled off a move Tanzania.
My good friend Aliko Dangote is in the room, or right there. We have an infrastructure project for the development of an East African refinery. Dangote tells me that it's going to cost anywhere between $16 billion and $20 billion. That East African facility, East African refinery facility, is an investment that the government of Kenya, the government of Uganda, the government of Tanzania, we have agreed that we want to develop a facility that is going to assist us with our fuel products. We do not want to be held hostage anymore by the Strait of Hormuz. We do not want to be held hostage by wars that are started by other people.
As if he doesn't support the wars. Man, you see, God damn, you listen, you hear the double standards in these people's speeches. As if this man has not contributed to the wars started by the same people. He's in Refinery. This same person, he signed a deal in 2023-2024 to take the Kenyan troops to Haiti. 2 years down the line, or 3 years, we have accusation, alleged, of the Kenyan troops. Of course, they have not done anything, but they were raping women and children. And because the Haitians, of course, were mad, the media decided to quote, the Haitians were begging the Kenyan troops not to leave. No, they were angry. Because number one, we go back again. Fast forward. Or way back forward. I don't know. But going back to literally what happened that time, we had demonstrations, you guys. Remember, we had demonstration from Haitians in America. We had demonstration from Haitians in Kenya. We had demonstration from Haitians themselves. begging Kenya, the Kenyan government, Kenyans, please do not do this. Please do not support America in this. Please do not. Oh, but the same person today is concerned about not wanting to be involved or affected by countries that have wars that have nothing to do with him, in his words, right? The same person, he has the RSF leader in Kenya who has a citizenship and a passport. The same person is working together with the UAE to smuggle gold, allegedly. I don't want to be kidnapped because I've seen the kidnappings have become too many. People are just being bumped into. I love my life. I love my life. So, hey, Ruto, you can lie.
We have our own resources here, and we are saying we are going to use our African resources to industrialize our region.
The same person, like I mentioned, is smuggling gold. Hey, they say wonders shall never end.
And that is why we have asked Aliko Dangote here to do a research. We have the port of Tanga, we have the port of Mombasa, we have the port of Lamu, and the rest in between, wherever they will find the most suitable location. From our perspective, because the crude pipeline was going to Tanga, we thought that is the best location. But we will not dictate to Aliko Dangote and the investors. But
we will not dictate to Aliko Dangote and the investors. Hey, if you don't have it now, forget about it. If you just don't get it, forget about it. Like for real. This company probably is coming with some conditions. Bet it's gonna come with some conditions, and I wonder which kind of conditions. I'm just so curious to know, figure out. But I bet it's gonna come with some conditions. Bet. And probably this might affect, yes, Mombasa again. Maybe the Mombasa people might be affected in a way. I'm not really sure. I'm not good at I can't predict that. But I'm just so curious to see, because there's terms and conditions about this. Well, we have the good bank people. Oh, and again, they're being called the investors. And they're supposed to benefit so that they can balance their sheets. Oh, okay. All right. Let's continue. And then I'll switch from this because Ruto is giving us too much tea that we had not picked from these videos.
I want to also tell Aliko and all the other guys,
this is how they tell on themselves. Man, these people don't, this is how they just tell on themselves. You're just blankly telling on yourself. Oh my.
You are not going to invest alone. Governments are also going to invest so that when you make the money, we also make the money. Right? And we are going to invest so that we can de-risk that investment. I am going to use resources from my National Infrastructure Fund to invest in the refinery so that we can share in the profits that come and we can assist our private sector to...
Boom. Mic drop. There we have it. There we have it. Literally. There we have it. Oh, the good bank people, the investors. Oh, the private investors. Mic drop. Come on, Ruto. What's more?
De-risk the investments they are going to put in these projects and make those projects viable and make them cost effective.
So, this project is not owned by, is not going to belong to East Africa. This project, yes, it's going to happen in East Africa. It's going to be controlled. The benefits that come off this project, And bet, of course, it's the oil from Africa, from all those countries still. Remember, Uganda said has a lot of oil to offer, which of course they started drilling all that shit. We're talking about Turkana and so many regions in Kenya. I do believe we still have some oil. Okay, leave alone that. Let's see. Tanzania, is there oil in Tanzania? Is there oil in Tanzania? Let's see. No. Oh, okay. No, it doesn't have oil. Okay. No. Oh, and of course we have Congo. Yeah. So this is not going to benefit East Africa. Is this a way of us paying our debt? I'm trying to understand what is this deal about? Because it's definitely not to benefit the people, not to grow the country's economies. It's clear. Where we have the private investors or the good bank people, this deal is not to benefit the people, especially where the majority. It's for you puppets and the other puppets who are funding this, literally.
Let me give you another opportunity. We are building a new airport in Nairobi. It's going to cost us around $1.5 billion.
A new airport. A new airport. A new airport. These airports, especially these airstrips or whatever, they have become too many. Hey, they have become too many.
There is an opportunity for investment. Are there any business people in this room? Or these are tourists? They are right here. Yes, I can see them here. So there is an opportunity for you to invest with us. Government of Kenya is going to put in 20%, bring the rest of the money. Let's build the airport and everybody makes money, right?
So he puts 20%, then they put 80%. So what do you own there? What do you own and control? So you are building an airport of this amount of money. All you can offer is 20% of something that is in your country. But you're telling the investors they should invest 80%? Wow. Unless I'm not understanding English, or I don't know. But this is crazy. But talking about oil, let's look at this again. Quick reminder of just some few information.
In 2012, tallow oil confirmed what geologists had suspected for decades.
I think I shared this again, but I'm going to share it again.
South Lokicha Basin in Turkana was sitting on a serious, commercially viable oil field. And it was not a small amount. 560 million barrels of black gold. A fortune that could transform the entire nation.
A fortune that can transform the entire nation. But years later, since the discovery of this oil, it's always been massive theft, massive killings, massive war in the northern parts of Kenya. This is just crazy.
At the time, many people were talking about Kenya transforming, becoming something like the Arab states. However, that dream never came to pass. Nearly 14 years since discovery, steps have been made. But Kenyans have had very little to show for the last 14 years.
Exactly. I shared actually this exact documentary last time when we're talking about the fuel prices. So when you look at the patterns I've just shown you, we had a refinery oil that was built in Kenya. That is in the 1960s. And their claim, of course, because of the aging machinery and high maintenance processing cost, it made the refined fuel more expensive than simply importing ready-made petroleum. To lower the consumer cost, the government shut down the refining pharmacies, literally the place. And looking at it, we've understood they changed the name from Changamwe to the Kenya Petroleum Refinery Limited Company. And then stopped refining crude oil. That is in 2013 because it became too expensive. In 2023, the government transferred the refinery assets to the Kenya Pipeline Company. Now, the Kenya Pipeline Company is the same, which you can see there is the Gulf company involved now with the Turkana oil. So let me take you through as we continue.
And recently, ownership of the entire project shifted to a local investor in a deal that raised more questions than it answered. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, in an interview with no ambiguity, said this might be Kenya's biggest corruption scandal in Ruto's presidential regime.
I want to tell Kenyans this is going to be the biggest scandal this country has ever seen. Biggest corruption scandal this country has ever seen.
In this episode, we'll follow the full timeline of the Turkana oil project from discovery through the years of
Remember my shows, or you do keep up with my shows, this should be memorable to you.
International investments and broken promises, the controversies of the new owner, and how it is directly linked to President William Ruto. Be sure to like the video if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel for more investigative stories from Kenya. The initial excitement was real, and it was justified. Over the 4 years following the discovery, the joint venture drilled over 40 wells across the South Lokichar Basin. Tullow Oil held 50%. France's Total Energies held 25%. Canada's African Oil held the remaining 25%. The crude tested as light and relatively sweet, the kind refineries prefer. On the surface, all the ingredients were there for a historic windfall. But beneath the optimism lay a problem that would quietly shape everything that followed. Turkana crude oil is extremely waxy. Its wax content sits at around 40%, which means the moment this oil drops below 40 degrees Celsius, it stops behaving like a liquid, it behaves like a candle. To move it 895 kilometers to the coast, you need a continuously heated pipeline that would cost at least $3.5 billion. It would be expensive, but Kenya was not supposed to fund it alone. The plan was a joint venture with Uganda, which had its own waxy oil reserves in the Lake Albert Basin. By splitting the cost, the project became financeable. Then Uganda made a different choice, routing its pipeline through Tanzania, cutting Kenya out entirely.
The original study showed Mombasa would have been the cheapest, but the Kenyans have not put it on the table. They have said they don't have the land and the facility for that. So they have retained Lamu.
Uganda says the route through Kenya has many security risks. This is mainly because of proximity to troubled Somalia, which is home to Islamist militants responsible for terrorist attacks in the region.
The investors needed a new global partner to make the numbers work after the Uganda betrayal. But no major player would commit billions without one thing first: an approved field development plan. A formal government-signed roadmap that lenders could rely on to structure financing and de-risk the project. While they waited for approval, the joint venture tried something smaller. In 2018, they launched the Ali Oil pilot scheme, not commercial production, but a proof of concept. Roughly 2,000 barrels a day, heated, sealed in insulated containers, and hauled by convoys of trucks from Lokichar to Mombasa. Then, in 2019, Kenya made history. Its first ever crude oil export, 200,000 barrels sold to a Chinese buyer for approximately $12 million.
Pamoja na vijana wameniambia kwa hii mafuta ya EOPS hiyo kamuguu tungetaka kupata.
Exactly. This is why I had a problem with it, because I had the same conversation. It was just recently. I don't know, it was about, I think it was about steel resources. The same talk of always saying that some resources found in a certain county should just benefit, and not even the people. It just benefits the officials of those county because they allowed you and gave you the permit to go and dig and mine. It's always crazy to assume that resources found in a certain county, it's like they don't belong to that country. So it shouldn't benefit the people. This should remain among us politicians. And that is what is going to happen with this crude. I'm not trusting this bullshit of Dangote. Trust me, I'm not. I think that is too much enough information to understand what is really, really happening here. It is enough. And Kenyans understand. Kenyans are not dumb. Kenyans are not really dumb. So it's crazy. But let's continue.
Behaves like a candle.
Oh no, I returned it a little bit back. Just a minute. Okay. There we go.
Iops, hiyo kamuguu tungetaka kupata.
Kwa hivyo sisi tunangoja mbafu.
Mimi naomba hii mbuzi mzima tuhakikishe imegawiwa kila moja wetu kwa njia ya haki. Rasilimali ya Kenya ni ya Wakenya.
In December 2021, Tullow Oil submitted what should have been the final document in Kenya's oil journey, their own failed development plan. Without it, no global partner would commit. The government did not reject the plan. It did not approve it either. For nearly 3 years, the approval that mattered most never arrived. By March 2023, pressure inside the joint venture was mounting. With time running out and investors demanding progress, Tullow submitted a revised field development plan. Once again, the document was returned with further notes, citing gaps, unresolved issues, and the need for additional clarification. Once again, there was no approval. The effect was predictable. This is when the partners began to leave. Total Energies exited first. African Oil followed. Their departure marked a turning point. Years of exploration and appraisal investment were now effectively stranded. Tullow was left as the sole owner of the project that had always been structured for a multi-partner consortium. Still, the approvals never came. By early 2025, even Parliament had grown impatient. The National Assembly Liaison Committee issued a formal ultimatum. The field development plan was to be resolved by June 30th, 2025. But by then, Tullow's position had become untenable. In April 2025, the company announced it was willing to sell the entire Kenyan portfolio, 100% to a local firm, Gulf Energy, through a Mauritius registered subsidiary.
Is that ringing a bell from the previous video now I shared of the guy who was talking about the Gulf company? Oh my God, this is all a scam. This is all well and planned. These people sat somewhere, had a meeting, and then they come in front of cameras to now tell us they want to create a refining oil company. Dangote knows what exactly is doing with Ruto and these other presidents who have agreed to this. And so do the private investors or the good bank people. They do know. It's good, but what of benefit? Who is it? Is it really going to be beneficial to East Africa? That should be the question, because we can see the companies behind this whole setup. The Kenya Pipeline Company, it's now controlled by the Gulf Energy. No.
Called Oron Energy Limited. The price.
And okay. Yeah. This rings a bell of the article I read some time back this year about the Tanganyika and how these people are about to destroy millions of lives with these crude pipes. I think I read an article and we saw already the damage that was being done. Wow. Okay.
Was $120 million. $40 million changed hands immediately, the remaining $80 million deferred. payable only if future milestones were met, stretched across installments running all the way to 2028. For a project on which more than $2 billion had already been spent, the discount was staggering. Then Senator Edwin Sifuna sounded the alarm. His words were not diplomatic.
I want to tell Kenyans this is going to be the biggest scandal this country has ever seen. Biggest corruption scandal this country has ever seen. Because, Yvonne, you have a situation where the operator or the oil company that has been given the go-ahead to do this FDP, you see changes in its ownership within a matter of days before the FDP is approved by the Ministry of Energy.
And to understand why it matters, you need to understand who Gulf Energy actually is. Gulf Energy is not a new name in Kenya business. Through its subsidiary Gulf Power, the company operates a diesel plant selling electricity to the national grid under a long-term contract with Kenya Power. If you followed our episode on why Kenya has the highest electricity cost in Africa, you already know the controversy. That controversy had already reached the Senate.
Private, you had Ruto mention private investors? Yeah. And isn't our Kenyan company some shares been sold to some Kenyan private to some private investors? Of course it has. Haven't our tokens went up? Of course they did. They reduced them, but it doesn't change anything. It still goes back to the same position when he sold the company and how the tokens literally just started rising. It has not changed a goddamn thing.
2023, the Senate Energy Committee summoned Gulf Power over those electricity costs and asked a direct question.
The officials were also hard pressed to unravel the mystery behind the official owners of the company.
Some of the owners of this garant include the former PSs, the former CS of Energy, and some very prominent Kenyans. That's why you'll not be wanting to mention their names here.
Are you telling us it is that company is still Kenyans hiding in Mauritius? And why is it necessary for them to hide in Mauritius? I may not be able to answer that question, sir.
Senators accused him of concealing facts to protect powerful individuals. The legal purchaser is Aron Energy Limited, created specifically for this transaction and registered in Mauritius with Gulf Energy acting as its guarantor. Mauritius was chosen precisely because it asks few questions and answers even fewer, a standard mechanism for placing distance between a transaction and its real beneficiaries. But despite the layers of offshore structure, there was one link that could not be obscured, one that connects Gulf Energy directly to State House. Gulf Energy's chairman is Francis Koome Njogu. In 2022, President William Ruto appointed Njogu to Kenya's National Investment Council, a body that sits directly under the presidency, advising Ruto personally on high-value strategic investments in the country. And according to reporting by Africa Intelligence, this proximity was not incidental. The reporting states that the Ruto administration played an active role, that the government effectively imposed Gulf Energy as the buyer on tallow oil. Now, look at what happened next, and pay attention to the sequence. On April 28, 2025, the sale of Gulf Energy was announced. On November 5th, 6 months later, the field development plan was approved. The same stalled approval that had driven Total Energies and Oil Africa to write off their Kenyan assets to zero and leave the country. The approval that tallow oil had chased across 3 separate submissions and nearly 4 years of waiting. It arrived within months of the assets changing hands. Then, on November 24th, 2025, the government executed a first addendum to the production sharing contract and rewrote the terms of Kenya's share of its own oil. The cost recovery ceiling was raised from 65% to 85%.
You see changes in the original contract to push the cost recovery rate from 65% to actually 55% to 85% in a matter of days after approval of that FDP. There are so many things that point to obvious corruption in that particular deal. And I can assure you, if we do not fight that particular issue, Kenya is not going to see a single shilling of that oil.
On top of
I'm telling you.
that, Gulf Energy and all its subcontractors were exempted from VAT, from the Railway Development Levy, and from the Import Declaration Fee. Consider what happened to the company that left. The Kenya Revenue Authority is pursuing Tullow Oil for 23.1 billion shillings. The combined bill exceeds the entire value of what Tullow was paid for the asset. One company got the oil, the other one got the invoice. And here is the detail that ties it all together. The Auditor General, Nancy Gadungu, found that not a single approved recoverable cost statement for the relevant oil blocks has ever been submitted for audit. That 85% ceiling isn't just generous, there's no mechanism in place to verify whether those costs are real. Kenya could be handing over 85% of every dollar indefinitely with no way to check the arithmetic. And in Turkana, the communities closest to the oil fields are still waiting. Dry pipes, unfinished roads, no comprehensive environmental impact assessment for the current phase of commercial development. The heated export pipeline, always the linchpin of commercial viability, has still not broken ground. The plan is still to truck crude oil by road to Mombasa, an echo of the pilot scheme that was tested and funded by the international investors who left. All that remains for the new owners is Parliament approving the FDP and the claim to start production by December 2026.
Yeah, so you can see by December 2026, now we have Dangote, we have a private bank, good people, and all that. Nah. This was just giving fishy from the word go. Because it didn't make sense why Dangote has never came forward to offer this solution to the continent and invite countries that were willing to invest using their money, not having good bank people, helping him invest in a project. Why does it have to take you so long? And maybe I don't have the full details. This is just my analysis. Literally, this is just this is me, what I'm thinking and trying to understand. And I do believe it's kind of making sense at the end of the day. It's really making a lot of sense. Because the question again is, why is he doing it right now? For how long has the Dangote company existed for? Let's see. How long has the Dangote oil refinery existed for? Lies. Really? Lies. Google is lying to me. 2.5 years. Why is Google lying to me? Google is lying to me. In Nigeria. Let's see. Three years. I'm still really buying that. For real? Dangote Petroleum Refinery has existed as a physical facility for about 3 years. Construction took 7 years. Okay, ending with its official inauguration in May 2023, and the facility began commercial operations in January 2024 and fully commenced petrol processing by September 2024. The construction started in 2016 and then in 2023. Okay. Yeah. But still, I'm always with the still. Trust me. I'm still forever with the still. But let's wrap it up with Dr. Mombi as we hear her opinion, what she had to say about this, for entertainment purposes only.
This is for entertainment purposes only. Because how can you explain these things? So now Dangote has come out and said that he actually prefers to have his oil refinery in Kenya, in Mombasa, and not Tanga, because Mombasa ports have deeper sijui channels or whatever, and Kenya consumes more oil, and we're a bigger economy. How embarrassing, huh? And when I tell you your president hates you, that he wants to rob you of your inheritance, you guys think I'm getting emotional. I mean, this is just such an embarrassing series of events. Like, this is crazy. So last week or the week before, Dangote, Museveni, and Nabi meet. Nabi announces that there's going to be an oil refinery that's built in Tanga. He wants to be a regional hero. He's even invited to be the first president of Kenya to ever speak at the Tanzanian parliament. What? And so he announced it on this global stage at they're taking business to Tanga, whatever. Kenyans got pissed. That thing trended for days. Well, it looks like Dangote heard or read or saw or whatever. I'm telling you, I keep telling you guys, our voice has power. It might be the only power they think we have, but our voice has power. It changes policy. It changes national decisions. It cannot be ignored, no matter how much these politicians want us to think we're at their mercy. Yeah, so Dangote has said, it makes more sense for me to build this mega refinery in Mombasa. Over to you, President of Kenya, Nabi. I think they played him. Ebu, let me know what you think in the comments below. I think they played him. And guys, I don't know. It's just like our inheritance has returned. There's another friend of mine online who's saying maybe Dangote knows that one time is real.
Nah, Dr. Mumbi, sorry. I think you kind of lost it a little bit in some things, but it's okay. I understand you. I'm not taking none of this. I'm not. That's just my stand, but I'm not gonna say that's the end of the discussion of this particular topic. We'll keep on digging more to see conditions, because there are conditions and terms. They are there. Where we are, the good bank people, of course, they are there. They are so there. So, shout out to Kenya for earning itself a whole oil refinery company. Let's see how it's going to benefit us, our economy. How is it going to boost us? I'm waiting to see. And the fact that we already have oil in our very own country, it's not like we have to depend on Uganda and all. Nah, we have it here and we have the company. So let's see if the prices of oil are going to reduce. We should reduce a lot. Let's see how it's going to stabilize our economy. Let's see. I'm waiting. I'm really eager to see the change. So eager. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. But shout out to Jiba Jaba again. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Says his body language spells bullshit. I know Ruto is such a liar. Oh my God. Shout out to Joel Mosquito once again, saying, what's the cupcake Ramaphosa done now? Ramaphosa should just be a man enough to apologize. That's just what he needs to do, because having this president also having a back and forth, that is so embarrassing also to the rest part of the world, And of course, what South Africans did was embarrassing globally still, don't get me wrong. But he should be a man enough to stand and say, hey, my people are wrong, and I stand on behalf of my country and the people and refuse this behavior. We don't condone this. But this man just was talking nonsense. He was just talking nonsense, literally. There's nothing that he said that was important that other Africans felt like, hey, we feel protected. At least he tried to stand by us. No. As a matter of fact, he added more salt to the injury, saying, no, this undocumented. It's nothing to do with the documentation. Your people have been xenophobic and it's evident from many angles. Lack of education. I mean, look at the level of illiteracy there. Look at the level of theft. And yet they have the audacity. It's always, again, the audacity of accusing other Africans of theft. Yet we saw a whole documentary showing It is these people who actually who commit a lot of crimes in their own country. Another one admitted why they are lazy. Let me see if I can find that video. He was admitting why they are lazy. And I'm glad at least one of them is saying the truth, unlike the president. He says South Africans are lazy. We don't like to work because, you know, other Africans come and work for us. Yeah, you are lazy. So it is just, he should be a man enough and apologize. Let me see if I can find that video of this guy who's saying South Africans are lazy. Do you? It is. Let me share that. Just a second. Share this.
Foreigners are more hardworking, South Africans don't work it out. What do you have to say to them?
The foreigners are hard workers than the South African. But even the South African, when they go to Zimbabwe, they are going to be a hard worker because it's not their comfortable zone. In Zimbabwe, the Zimbabweans are not hard worker in Zimbabwe. The Angolian in Angola, they are not a hard worker. Even our people here in South Africa, you can see them in Europe, you can see them in other.
I'm glad you didn't mention Kenyans because that's not the truth. Kenyans know how to mind their business and they understand what has taken them in a certain space. I'm here to look and make money. That's it. Who is in which other's husband, who is in others, I don't know what. None of my business. I think with the people who know how to mind our business, being honest, I don't know, because personally I do, big time. I know points of where I need to mind my business. This is none of my concern, like for real. So yeah, you didn't mention Kenyans, and I'm glad you didn't. Because our people are very hardworking. That's why you saw yesterday, people woke up so early, still minding their mind going to work. Despite having the government itself disrupting people's day by deploying the police officers and causing fear outside, people are ready to go and work. Nobody has time to go demonstrate. We're tired with the demonstration. We're waiting for the election. That is the point Kenyans are at right now, because that's when people are going to go fully rage. People are tired of going to the streets every single time and being killed. We're waiting for the goddamn election day, so we can see them re-elect the same person we never chose. And it's gonna go down. That's why you never saw Kenyans yesterday on the streets. They're telling you on the street, they're telling you on the internet. We would rather not come on the streets anymore knowing you're gonna kill us. We've already understood your tactic. So what we're gonna do is wait for elections. And we're gonna come to you. We're gonna come for you guys in your houses. We're not even gonna demonstrate, oh, who we lost, nah. In your houses. Keep it.
Countries, they are the hard workers. Here in South Africa, we have a right. That is the thing that the other people, they said we are lazy. We are lazy because when I'm sick, I'm going to take a day off. If my child is sick, I'm going to take a day off. If one of my family died, I'm going to take a day off. But that's why they use that word that we are lazy. We are lazy in our own country. We are proud to be lazy in South Africa than to be lazy in other countries.
They are proud to be lazy in South Africa rather than being lazy in other countries. You heard? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. Jobusko says, yes, it's no. Mbappe, I respect his talent, but as a person, once I heard he dated that transgender, that was it for me. Oh, dang, that's crazy. I didn't know about that. Ew. Ooh, who does that? Shit. It's always crazy with these people. Jabba says, is the island sovereign? Is it the Kenyan property? Exactly. Good question. Exactly. And then Joseph says, wow, they turned it into a storage. Imagine they did turn it into a storage depot. Gulf Oil was originally headquarters in Pittsburgh, where I am. Man, they're everywhere. And then Joseph says it can't be transported below 40 degrees and a lot of additional cost. And it can't. And says, build your own dummy. And I know, instead of calling investors, says, does Uganda know about this? Of course, Museveni does know about this. Museveni, of course he knows about this, because in his country there is oil. Of course he does know about this. He does. And Jiba says that they pump oil and transport it from Alsaka in Russia. It's quite cold there. What bullshit. And then says no oil Tanzania just has seafood host. And that's, yeah, I love me some Tanzania seafood. Yeah, so there's no oil. And then says Ruto sounds like a car salesman rather than a president. And Jerome Jibajaba says no railway, you can string 100 tankers behind a locomotive. And says Dr. Mumbi got crazy eyes. I kind of think, I don't know, she even now looks better. I kind of thought she was bleaching for me, man. There was a time she was looking really bad, like, someone was bleached. This is how they look after they stop bleaching. Like the underneath eye is always like super dark. Like it just looks and wrinkled, like really wrinkled. So I think right now she's started maybe taking care of her skin and trying to go back. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. I was thinking this is not factual. I was just thinking because this is how she was looking. If you look at her previous videos, she was not looking nice. I don't know if it's after because that's even after the whole beating of, the abduction of the government and all that. So, I don't know, man. But Jomoski says, I was trying to comment on Dr. Mombi post's Instagram a few weeks ago and it was not allowing me to. I think they got her page on lock. I don't see her on Instagram anymore. I barely do. I see her just on TikTok personally, always just on TikTok. But yes, that has been my time, family, this amazing morning. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. Of course, we've talked about what has been happening about corruption, looking at how Kenya can, or African countries can tackle corruption following the China way, or maybe was it Mogadishu or Madagascar? I don't know, I'm confusing Mogadishu. Madagascar. It was Madagascar where we had the lie detecting device for corrupt leaders who are stealing as well. And we've also talked about Tanzania and the deployment of the police officers outside, which I don't know what Samia Suluhu is so scared of. She was chosen by the people. And we've talked about digital ID as well, looking at how we have 46 million people in Ethiopia have already registered and have digital IDs. So it's crazy. And this has been running for the last 3 years. And then we've seen Kenya also has been pushing towards the same thing. Ruto explaining how our iris, for those who give their data willingly, is going to be used, of course, for this digital ID. Ramaphosa, who should be a man enough and apologize. We've also tackled a little bit of course, more of now the refinery oil that is being built in Kenya, which personally I do not trust that converse. I do not trust it. I do not really trust it. But have yourselves a beautiful rest part of your morning. Remember, you can grab the application on the Google Play Store. Blackout Fire Network is the name with that fire sign. We are up and available if you are an Android user on the Google Play Store. If you're using an iPhone, you can subscribe or stream using our website link. That is the www.blackoutfirenetwork.com. And also for those who are on Spotify, Spreaker, shout out to y'all. And for the beauty people too as well, thank you so much. For those who are with us on YouTube for the first time, do hit that subscription button, share and like and comment with your family and friends. We have an active Cash App as well. You can support us in any way you can, tafadhali, just to keep our lights going and to keep me paid, manze. Life is tough, I'm telling you. Life is really tough. So please, any amount you send, it does really boost us big time. We have the Cash App, that is the $ Mr. Blackout Fire, or rather on the page itself, if you download the app, we have a donation page, just the last page of the app itself. You'll find us there and you can send it through PayPal or Cash App, whichever you prefer, however the app allows you, literally. So have yourselves a beautiful rest part of your morning and remember to stay healthy. We have amazing supplements as well. Let me share one that you can get and we'll be wrapping it up right there this particular morning.
Beetroot, nature's powerhouse. Packed with vitamins, antioxidants and nitrates, it's known to support heart health, boost stamina and improve blood circulation. Our beetroot is naturally grown and harvested at peak ripeness. The roots are cleaned, dried, and finely ground to preserve their rich nutrition content, giving you all the benefits in one pure form. Add 1 teaspoon of beetroot powder to your juice, smoothie, or water, or take it in capsule form as recommended by your healthcare provider. Beetroot helps enhance endurance, lower blood pressure, and keep you feeling energized and balanced all day. Fuel your body with the natural power of beetroot. Stay strong, stay healthy. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.